Welcome to Out of Bounds and good morning from the city of Harbin. In this video, we travel from this cosmopolitan metropolis in the north through the expansive plains and mountains of northeastern China to the national capital Beijing by high-speed rail. Today a city of 10 million residents, Harbin's fortunes were brought by the railways. Although the area had been inhabited for thousands of years, what is today Harbin was just a collection of villages along Songhua River in the late 19th century, a time when China was under pressure from a number of imperialist powers. In 1896, the Russian Empire signed a secret treaty with the then reigning Qing dynasty of China. The treaty allowed Russia to build railways through northeastern China and obtain extraterritorial rights on lands along the route. Russian surveyors chose Harbin to be the headquarters of the China Eastern Railway, and the settlement quickly grew into an international city. Russia and Japan vied for the China Eastern Railway continuously during the first half of the 20th century. China was only able to resume exercising full sovereignty over the railway and lands next to it in 1952, after the defeat of Japan in World War II and the establishment of the People's Republic. Even today, Russian cultural influence is still apparent throughout the streets of Harbin. Food and beverage brought by the Russians, such as sausage and kvass, are sold everywhere. And there are many European-style buildings, including, of course, the Harbin railway station. First opened in 1899, Harbin Station was the heart of the China Eastern Railway system. The station building was upgraded to a grand Art Nouveau structure in 1904 and became a prominent landmark of the city. Due to increasing passenger flow, the 1904 station building was demolished in 1959 and replaced with more mundane buildings for a few decades. Then, starting in 2014, Harbin Station underwent a major renovation, with the station building restored in the 1904 Art Nouveau style. As part of the project, the Holy Iveron Icon Church next to the station was also rehabilitated. The church, also locally known as the Saint Yvel, was originally built in 1908 for use by Russian military personnel. By the mid-20th century, the Russian population in Harbin had dwindled due to a variety of factors, including the Japanese occupation between 1931 and 1945, repatriation to the Soviet Union after World War II, and emigration. Sino-Soviet relations also worsened in the 1960s, leading to St. Yvel's closure in 1966 at the onset of China's Cultural Revolution. The church then fell into disrepair until it was reported on by local media in the late 1990s and subsequently declared a protected landmark. Since we have a bit of time before the train, let's go over to the South Plaza for another important piece of history that happened right here at Harbin Station. By the early 20th century, Imperial Japan was well on its way to colonizing its neighbor Korea. The Japanese statesman Ito Hirobumi, having previously served as the first Prime Minister of Japan, also oversaw Japan's de facto control of Korea as the first resident general after 1905, the year Imperial Japanese Navy defeated Russia at the Battle of Tsushima. To mediate the competing ambitions of Japan and Russia in the region, in 1909, Ito headed north to Harbin for a meeting with the then Russian Finance Minister Vladimir Kokovtsov. This news reached Korean independence activist An Jung-geun, who saw this as an opportunity to eliminate Ito. Shortly after 9 in the morning of October 26, 1909, Ito's train arrived at Harbin Station. Kokovtsov boarded the train for about 20 minutes for a brief discussion with Ito, then the two disembarked to salute the troops and onlookers. It was then that An leaped forward and fired 3 shots at Ito, who would succumb to the wounds 20 minutes later. An was arrested immediately. He was handed over to Japanese authorities who tried and later executed him on March 26, 1910. A small museum on An Jung-geun's life and the assassination of Ito Hirobumi is now located at Harbin Station. Inside the station next to Platform 1, a set of markers placed a few meters apart commemorate the very spots where the two men stood at that fateful moment. Alright, let's get inside the station. After a standard ticket check and security screening, we head upstairs for the departure lobby. It is a large open space, and the multitude of arches gives it a classy touch. There are also a few restaurants on the mezzanine level. Back on the departure level, our train G908 departs from platform 10 today. This service originates from Qiqihar, about 280 kilometers away, and Harbin is the second stop after Daqingdong Station. Boarding started about 15 minutes prior to the indicated departure time. Similar to the station building, the train shed is also reminiscent of a large European station. But of course, unlike many actual stations in Europe, platforms at China railway stations generally only open to ticketed passengers shortly before the train arrives, and station staff do not permit people to loiter for too long. Our train rolled into platform 10 at 10:36 on time. It is composed of two coupled CR400 BF-GZ EMUs, both manufactured by CRRC Changchun in 2021. They are capable of 350 kilometers per hour in commercial service and have cold and sandstorm-resistant features for operation in China's vast northern reaches. This train will take us through the capitals of the three northeastern provinces before making a westward turn at Shenyang, then run through the Yanshan mountain range for Beijing. The route's total length is 1,242 kilometers, with 4 hours 47 minutes of scheduled runtime for an average speed of 260 kilometers per hour. My car happens to be a cafe car where the food service counter takes up about half the space. The remainder is second-class seats with 3+2 layout. It's fairly comfortable with seats that tilt back and a slight headrest. There is a functional tray table and seat back pocket. There is also a USB port for charging. A seat to Beijing here costs 598 Chinese yuan. At 10:40, the G908 departs Harbin Station on time.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the tickets Fuxing Embassy of China Railway Harbin Bureau from Connecting.
In just a few minutes, we pass Harbin Xi Station to the southwest of city center. Open in 2012, this is another major station where many high-speed services depart from. Many rail lines split off, and beyond here, our train picks up speed as it passes towns and endless farmlands. At 11:05, we cross the Lalin River and enter Jilin Province. The landscape looks similar as we continue to pass by enormous rice and soybean fields. Let's get up and walk a bit. This train has dedicated luggage storage racks at the ends of the cars. Hot water dispenser is available as is standard on all Chinese trains. The restrooms look clean and well stocked. There is also a handicapped restroom with extra space for those who might need it. There are even some snow and ice-inspired decoration on the doors, which I think is a nice touch. The train is running above 300 kilometers per hour now, though noise is pretty well controlled in the cabin and you won't really feel any rolling or shaking on board. We are now approaching the city of Changchun, capital of Jilin province. Today a city of 9 million inhabitants, Changchun first became connected to rail transport through the China Eastern Railway in 1903. Just 2 years later, in 1905, at the end of the Russo-Japanese War, the two sides concluded the Treaty of Portsmouth, by which the China Eastern Railway south of Changchun was transferred to Japan and became the original South Manchuria Railway. Changchun would also later serve as the capital of the so-called Manchu Kuo, a Japanese puppet regime between 1932 and 1945. After the establishment of the People's Republic of China, Changchun became one of the nation's most important centers for heavy industry, pioneering Chinese automotive and rail transport manufacturing since the 1950s. Indeed, this very train we're traveling on right now is produced at the CRRC factory in Changchun. The station we're stopping at is Changchun Xi, or Changchun West Station. This high-speed rail station opened in 2012. Across from us on platform 7 is the G908 from Beijingchaoyang to Qiqihar-nan, covering the exact same route as ours in the opposite direction.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Full City Entry of China Railway Harbin Bureau, connecting Smoking, the street life happening in the whole.
We are now passing the city of Siping. It was mostly destroyed during the Chinese Civil War in the late 1940s, but has since been rebuilt into a city of 1.8 million people with active agriculture and industries. After Siping, we enter Liaoning province. The train is slowing down for the next stop, Tielingxi Station. Tieling is known for its corn farming and heavy industries. Among its 2.8 million residents, about 20% are ethnic Manchu people. As we're departing, the G928 from Jilin to Beijingchaoyang came into platform 1. This train will closely track behind us for the rest of the journey. Tieling is not too far from the major city of Shenyang, the capital of Liaoning province and our train's next stop. During the rise of Qing dynasty in the 17th century, Manchu bannermen captured Shenyang in 1621 after defeating Ming dynasty forces in the pivotal battle of Sarhu 2 years earlier. Shenyang then served as the Manchu capital between 1625 and 1644, when the Qing captured Beijing and moved the capital there. The imperial palace in Shenyang is still intact and is now a UNESCO World Heritage Site. Today a city of 9 million people, Shenyang is a prominent center of heavy industry, entertainment, and sports. The Shenyang Base Station we're stopping at now traces its history back to the Liaoning Main Station opened in 1931. Originally built by Chinese in competition with the Japanese-controlled Fengtian, later Shenyang Station, nearby. The latest round of renovation completed in 2013 to accommodate increase in passenger flow. The yellow EMU across from us is a high-speed inspection car. This particular unit is manufactured by CRRC Changchun specifically for use in very cold environments.
列车前方停车站是北京朝阳站。
The tracks immediately after Shenyang Base Station are the stage of another dramatic episode in 20th century Chinese history. In the 1920s, the Chinese warlord Zhang Zuolin was the de facto leader of northeastern China. He had a largely independent regime until a civil war with nationalist forces led by Chiang Kai-shek. As the nationalist forces continued to advance in early 1928, Zhang sued for peace, then left Beijing for his home base Shenyang by train on June 3rd. Zhang had had close relations with Japanese interests up to that time, but fearing the consolidation of various Chinese factions, the Japanese military moved to assassinate Zhang. When his train approached Shenyang the next morning, explosives planted by the Japanese military blew up the tracks, fatally wounding Zhang Zuolin, who would die hours later. This shocking event would be a prelude to Japan's full-scale invasion of Manchuria in 1931 and the rest of China through 1945. The train is now quickly picking up speed. In this section, it would run around 340 kilometers per hour. The ride remains exceptionally quiet and smooth, even at this speed. The flat plains begin to transition to hills beyond here, as we enter a series of mountain ranges between northeastern China and Beijing. Historically, the main route between the two regions runs closer to the coastline and eventually through the famous Shanhai Guan, a narrow pass between the mountain and the sea at the very eastern terminus of the Great Wall. But modern technology allows us to run right through the terrain. We are now passing the city of Chaoyang on the western edge of Liaoning province. It is home to 2.8 million people, including about 160,000 ethnic Mongol people. Historically, this area was the southern fringe of the Kharchin banner. We are entering the city of Chengde in northern Hebei province, still running through mountains that were historically the transition zone between nomadic and agricultural ways of life. Emperors in the early Qing dynasty saw potential in this strategic location and its cooler alpine climate. Over much of 18th century, successive emperors built a large complex of palaces and resorts as their summer residence away from Beijing's sweltering heat. Each summer, the emperor, together with his princes and bannermen, would organize large hunts to maintain the martial spirit of his court. They would also meet with Mongol nobles, who too preferred Chengde over Beijing's heat and urban congestion. Today, the Chengde Mountain Resort remains a popular tourist destination and is a UNESCO World Heritage Site. The train has now entered the administrative boundary of Beijing. We are now in the northeastern district of Miyun, which has a large reservoir that mitigates floods and provides drinking water to Beijing. The train has slowed down to around 240 kilometers per hour as it approaches Beijing city proper. The tracks run underground for a bit before we approach our final stop, Beijingchaoyang Station. At 15:27, the G908 arrives at platform 11 of Beijingchaoyang Station. We complete our 1,242-kilometer journey in 4 hours 47 minutes of actual time, including the last 697 kilometers of non-stop section from Shenyang in just 2.5 hours. Beijingchaoyang is a new hub opened in late 2021 on the east side of the city. A number of mosaics depicting high-speed trains next to some of Beijing's historical landmarks decorate the exit passage from the station. I hope you enjoyed this high-speed journey through northeastern China to Beijing. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more travel and transit content. Have a good day and see you in the next one.